It only took one step, one ordinary step on a kitchen floor that changed everything for 73-year-old William, a retired jazz musician with a soft spot for gardening and long walks. He wasn't climbing a mountain or chasing a grandchild. He was simply walking across his kitchen when his favorite loafers betrayed him. A slick sole, a damp tile, and in an instant, he was on the ground, clutching his hip in agony. That fall, so sudden and so avoidable, cost him 6 months of mobility and nearly his independence. But what if I told you William's story isn't rare? Each year, more than 300,000 older adults are hospitalized due to falls, many of which stem from a simple yet often ignored truth. The shoes they wear every day are quietly undermining their safety. This is not just about fashion or comfort. This is about survival, freedom, and dignity. It's about your steps today shaping the life you can live tomorrow. That's why this message isn't just a list of senior footwear mistakes. It's a powerful piece of advice for the elderly, a wake-up call wrapped in compassion and science. As we grow older, our feet change, and I don't just mean the usual wrinkles or bunions. I mean deep structural transformations that shift the very way we stand and move. The cushioning fat pads that once softened each stride thin out, exposing bones and nerves to sharp impacts. The nerve endings that once helped you balance degrade significantly, up to 30% after the age of 65. Even the smallest joint misalignments become magnified, triggering pain that echoes through the knees, hips, and spine. And yet, many of us still wear the same shoes we wore in our 40s, the same styles, the same sizes, the same worn-out soles. This isn't just a mistake, it's a trap, a silent thief stealing your strength, your movement, your golden years. Let's start with one of the most common culprits, high heels. Not the towering stilettos you see on red carpets, but the modest 2-inch pumps many women wore to the office for decades. Even those, studies show, shift your body weight forward, increasing pressure on the ball of your foot by up to 75%. That unnatural alignment wreaks havoc, compressing your toes, shortening tendons, and forcing your knees and hips into strained compensation. Janet, a retired school principal, wore her sensible heels for years, until her bunions became so inflamed she needed surgery. That operation left her unable to walk for 3 months, just when she and William had planned to travel across the country together. Then there are the summer classics, flip-flops, easy, breezy, and totally hazardous for seniors. With every step in flip-flops, your toes are forced to grip, disrupting your gait and weakening your natural balance. Add in zero arch support and almost no shock absorption, and you have a recipe for inflammation, joint damage, and lingering foot pain. William learned this lesson on a beach vacation. What started as a casual walk along the shoreline ended with a case of plantar fasciitis that took 6 months of physical therapy to resolve. The deeper problem is that we don't always feel the damage until it's too late. One wrong choice in footwear often leads to compensation patterns, walking differently, leaning harder on one side, or favoring one leg. These changes may seem small, but eventually radiate upward, affecting your entire skeletal alignment. The result? Chronic pain, instability, and increasing fear of falling. This is why understanding senior foot health is not just a podiatrist's job. It's an essential part of every senior's journey toward healthy aging. And don't be fooled by appearances. Your sneakers may still look new, clean, intact, but cushioning doesn't wear out on the outside. It collapses within. Most athletic shoes lose nearly half their shock absorption ability after just 6 months of regular use. That soft midsole you trusted becomes compressed, leaving your joints unprotected from the full weight of every step. For someone like William, who grew up with Depression-era values, use it up, wear it out, throwing away perfectly good shoes felt wasteful. But after he swapped his old sneakers for a properly supportive pair, the knee pain he'd suffered for over a year vanished in just 2 weeks. Backless slippers are another hidden danger, especially inside the home, where most senior falls occur. They may feel comfortable and familiar, but their loose design forces your toes to curl and grip, shortening your stride and destabilizing your ankle. This subtle change dramatically reduces balance by up to 65% according to studies, and often leads to stumbles on stairs or during quick movements like answering the door. Ruth, William's neighbor, learned this the hard way after a fall that left her with a broken wrist and 6 months of lost independence, all from a pair of cozy, backless slippers. Even shoes that appear safe on the outside can pose serious risks. Smooth soles, especially those of worn-down loafers or dress shoes, can be lethal on tile, hardwood, or even slightly wet floors. That's what caught William off guard that morning in the kitchen. A tiny splash of water, barely visible, and his old leather loafers turned into skis. The slip twisted his back and started a cascade of injuries that followed him for months. What's more alarming is how often seniors overlook the fact that feet widen with age. Ligaments stretch, bones spread, and the shape of your foot subtly evolves. Yet we often continue to wear the same size, especially in tight-fitting dress shoes. These shoes restrict circulation, compress nerves, and lead to painful conditions like neuropathy. William himself fell into this trap when dressing for his grandson's wedding. His old black shoes looked fine, but after 6 hours of standing and dancing, he couldn't feel parts of his feet. That numbness lingered for weeks and nearly caused a fall on the steps outside his home. Then there's the common misconception that walking barefoot around the house is more natural and healthier. While this may be true for younger bodies with stronger muscle tone and intact fat pads, barefoot walking poses real danger for aging adults. Without cushioning, every step sends shock waves through joints already weakened by arthritis or degeneration.
For those with reduced sensation, like William, who developed diabetic neuropathy, something as small as a crumb on the floor can cause a wound that turns into a months-long ulcer. And finally, perhaps the most widespread mistake of all, relying on one pair of shoes for everything. Gardening, errands, walking, even dress events, all done in the same good pair. But each activity demands different support. Gardening needs lateral stability. Walking needs flexibility and shock absorption. Church or events may call for formal styles that don't compromise on comfort. One size fits all is not a healthy aging footwear strategy. It's a shortcut to trouble. Each of these seemingly small choices, heels, flip-flops, worn sneakers, backless slippers, slick soles, tight shoes, and bare feet, and the one pair for all approach, has contributed to the mobility crisis so many seniors face. But it doesn't have to be this way. William's transformation began not with surgery or medication, but with a fitting, something most people haven't done since childhood. In a small orthopedic shoe store on the edge of town, he met a specialist who changed everything. This woman didn't just measure his foot length. She assessed his width at multiple points, evaluated his arch, and observed the way he walked. What she revealed shocked him. He'd been wearing shoes a full size too narrow for over 20 years. The relief he felt when trying on his properly fitted shoes was immediate and emotional. "It was like my feet could finally breathe," he later said. This moment marked the first step toward reclaiming his independence. Getting a professional shoe fitting might seem trivial, but it is one of the most overlooked forms of advice for the elderly. More than 80% of adults wear shoes that don't fit correctly. For seniors, this misfit can lead to reduced circulation, increased fall risk, and chronic pain. Properly fitted shoes are not a luxury, they are a necessity, one that supports not only senior foot health, but also total body balance and stability. But fitting is just the beginning. True mobility recovery comes with understanding that one pair of shoes cannot meet every need. That's where the three-zone footwear system enters the picture, an innovative framework that divides your footwear into three distinct categories based on your daily activities. Zone 1 is your home footwear. These are the shoes you put on the moment your feet touch the floor in the morning. They should have a closed back to keep your foot secure, non-slip rubber soles to handle smooth indoor surfaces, and soft but supportive structure to protect your joints from hard flooring. William noticed that after switching to proper house shoes, the morning stiffness he used to dread gradually disappeared. With his feet properly supported from the first step of the day, the rest of his body followed. Zone 2 is your everyday support shoes. These are your go-to pair for errands, casual walks, and everyday routines. They must offer solid arch support matched to your foot type, cushioning that suits your weight and gait, and design features that stabilize you during prolonged use. For William, finding the best shoes for seniors meant choosing options with a wider base, breathable upper materials, and reliable closures like Velcro or laces. These everyday shoes became his most used, and within weeks, the knee pain that once made grocery trips agonizing was completely gone. Zone 3 is activity-specific footwear. This includes shoes tailored to particular tasks like gardening, exercise, or social events. For example, when William kneels to tend his flowers, he uses shoes with enhanced lateral support and a grippy sole designed for uneven terrain. His walking shoes are built for flexibility and heel cushioning. And even his dress shoes now come from a brand that blends formal appearance with orthopedic comfort, proof that style and senior wellness tips don't have to be at odds. Dividing his footwear in this way wasn't just about comfort, it was about strategy. It allowed William to extend the life of each pair, reduce injury risk, and perform each activity with greater confidence. This three-zone system may seem like a modern idea, but at its core, it's ancient wisdom reborn, giving every movement the respect and preparation it deserves. Yet even the best shoes have limitations if the internal support system, your foot's biomechanics, isn't functioning properly. That's where the third and perhaps most transformative solution came in: orthotics. These aren't the flimsy insoles sold at drugstores, but custom-fitted supports designed to correct the way your foot moves. Think of them like prescription glasses for your stride, calibrated precisely to your foot shape and gait patterns. William didn't go straight to a $400 podiatrist-made insert. Instead, he found a middle ground, a heat-moldable insole that he could shape at home. He warmed them in the oven, then stood on them while they cooled, creating a semi-custom mold of his feet. The results were remarkable. His arches, once collapsing under pressure, were now supported in just the right place. His hips no longer tilted unevenly, and the lingering pain in his lower back faded week after week. These kinds of elderly mobility solutions don't just relieve discomfort, they restore freedom. Custom orthotics aren't one-size-fits-all, but they also aren't out of reach. Seniors with conditions like diabetes or neuropathy may qualify for Medicare coverage if they request therapeutic orthotics for fall prevention. Even without full customization, strategic adjustments like pressure-relieving pads, shoe stretching, or gel inserts can turn an average shoe into a tool of recovery. William now uses these techniques to improve every pair he owns. "I didn't need to buy new shoes. I just needed to make my shoes work for me." With the trifecta of proper fitting, the three-zone system, and orthotic support, William's life began to change in quiet but profound ways. He no longer clutched the handrail with fear each time he descended his porch steps. He stopped wincing at the thought of walking from his car to the grocery store entrance. He started looking forward to walks again, not just as exercise, but as joy. These were more than senior footwear corrections. They were small revolutions that touched every part of his life.
6 months after implementing these changes, William's balance tests had improved by nearly 40%. His physical therapist declared him no longer at high risk for falls. But the most moving moment came one afternoon when his grandson asked him to go on a nature trail hike. William hesitated only for a second, then laced up his shoes, stood tall, and walked beside him. When they reached the overlook, the boy turned and said, "Why didn't we ever do this before, Grandpa?" William didn't have the heart to say he'd always been too afraid. That single moment, with the wind in his face and his grandson's hand in his, reminded him what he'd almost lost. Not just movement, but presence, participation, the chance to live his golden years fully, not fearfully. The truth is, our golden years are not stolen in dramatic events. They're chipped away quietly, step by step, by things we overlook. Shoes that no longer support us, soles that slide when they should grip, a belief that pain is just part of getting older, but it doesn't have to be. You don't need to accept discomfort as your new normal. You don't need to watch the world from the window. You can walk. You can climb. You can dance at your grandchild's wedding. But it begins with a step into shoes that support you, protect you, and honor the journey you've taken to get here. Your feet have carried you through every chapter of your life. Now it's time to give them the respect they deserve. Choose wisely, move confidently, and remember, your mobility tomorrow begins with your footwear today. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss other essential senior wellness tips. Share this with a friend or loved one who might need to hear it. Because aging gracefully isn't about giving things up. It's about stepping into the future with wisdom, strength, and the right pair of shoes. What William discovered through his transformation wasn't just about footwear. It was about reclaiming control over a part of life that so many seniors surrender without question. He had once believed pain was inevitable, that slowing down was just what happened when you got older. But what he learned instead is one of the most important pieces of advice for the elderly. Aging doesn't mean you have to give up your independence. It means you have to adapt with intention. He no longer saw shoes as an afterthought, as just another accessory or convenience. He saw them as tools of protection, as medicine, as daily therapy for his entire body. Every morning, slipping into his supportive home footwear became a ritual of self-care, a signal to his bones and joints that they were no longer alone in the fight. His everyday shoes became his silent companions, allowing him to walk farther, stand longer, and feel steadier. And when the occasion called for it, whether tending to his roses or attending church, his activity-specific shoes gave him the freedom to move without hesitation or hidden risk. This transformation brought more than just physical relief. It brought dignity, confidence, a renewed sense of identity. No longer limited by foot pain or fear, William re-entered the spaces he once avoided: the local library, the senior center, even the Saturday farmers market. He began to notice that his world wasn't shrinking anymore. It was expanding. The irony is that so many of the problems he faced were fixable. The fatigue, the aching hips, the subtle instability, it all stemmed from choices he didn't even realize he was making. That's the danger of senior footwear mistakes. They often masquerade as harmless or familiar, while slowly eroding your health and confidence from the ground up. That's why conversations like this matter. They cut through the assumptions and remind us that the foundation of senior wellness starts at our feet. Senior foot health isn't a niche concern. It's central to mobility, safety, and quality of life. And yet, for decades, it's been overlooked, misunderstood, dismissed. But now, as more and more seniors share stories like William's, a new awareness is rising. People are realizing that the best shoes for seniors aren't just comfortable. They're intentional, supportive, designed with the realities of aging in mind. From non-slip soles to proper width sizing, from arch alignment to shock-absorbing midsoles, every detail matters. And when those details are chosen carefully,
They become elderly mobility solutions that prevent falls, ease pain, and restore the simple joy of movement. In truth, these are not just shoes. There are statements. They say, I still have places to go. They say, I'm not giving up. They say, my life is still unfolding and I plan to walk every step of it with clarity and strength. This is the power of applying thoughtful, research-backed advice for the elderly. It's not about prescribing a one-size-fits-all formula. It's about meeting people where they are, with realistic changes that lead to real results. Whether it's replacing worn-out sneakers, avoiding backless slippers, or finally getting a proper fitting after decades of guesswork, these small shifts add up. They build towards something bigger, a life not limited by pain or prevented by fear. And if you're watching this, wondering whether your shoes might be quietly undermining you, take a moment to listen to your body. Are your knees aching more than usual? Do you feel unsteady on certain surfaces? Do your toes cramp or your heels sting at the end of the day? These are not just signs of aging. They're invitations. Invitations to reassess, to intervene, and to choose differently. Try the twist test on your current shoes. Observe how your feet feel when you walk barefoot on hard floors. Look at the tread underneath your favorite pair. And perhaps most importantly, think about the last time you gave your feet the attention they deserve. Because foot pain relief for seniors is not just about managing the symptoms, it's about preventing the problems altogether.
For those who are ready to take action, start with 3 simple steps. First, schedule a professional fitting, even if it's been decades. Second, build your own 3-zone shoe system, one pair at a time, based on what you do most. And third, explore orthotic options that match your needs, whether through a podiatrist or budget-friendly moldable inserts. These steps are simple. The results are profound. Just ask William. Today he walks over 5,000 steps a day without a single pain pill. He gardens, hikes, attends dance nights at the senior center, and reads to kids at the library. His balance is better, his mood is lighter, and perhaps most importantly, he no longer lives in fear of falling. That fear, so common among older adults, is now replaced with something far more powerful: hope. So let this be your turning point. Don't wait for the fall. Don't wait for the pain to become permanent. Take action today, not because you're afraid, but because you believe your golden years are worth protecting. Because your body, no matter its age, still deserves to move freely, confidently, and without apology. If this message spoke to you, if it opened your eyes or offered something new, please take a moment to give this video a like. Subscribe to our channel for more senior wellness tips that truly make a difference. Hit the bell so you never miss another video that could protect your health or lift your spirit. And if you know someone, maybe a friend, a parent, or a neighbor who still wears those worn-down loafers or slips around in backless slippers, share this with them. You might just save their independence with a single message. Thank you for watching. Your future steps start now, with wisdom, with intention, and with the right pair of shoes.